Hey guys, it's Steel. Welcome to the channel. We've got Haven coming up this week for Premiere, so I took the time to go over some basic Haven goals and objectives for attack and defense. I found some rounds that I'm going to show you guys as well, and it's for the meta comp currently, so you guys should check this out if you want to win on Saturday. Haven's a map that has 3 sites and 5 lanes to access those sites. The defenders have a couple of options to choose from to play the map. The first option is they can try to gamble stack, hold their trap setups, and hope that the enemy comes into them, but they need to be very comfortable playing for the retakes because you're often going to be in those retake situations if the enemy just hits the other site, or you have to condense the lanes down from 5 lanes down to 4 or 3 lanes, or even less. By condensing the lanes, they can start shifting over and get more bodies into the area that the attackers are actually going to hit. The attackers, they have a couple of options too. They can choose to play really fast and try to hope that they go into the site that's going to be undefended by the defenders. The downside is the attackers might run into a lot of gamble stacks or trap setups by the defenders. So they might want to go play slow, deny info, get map control, and diagnose the setup first before they make a final plan. Starting with defense, the standard setup is comprised of these components. The killjoy is starting with info towards garage, C, and B sites. The sova is starting towards A and usually darting A lobby for info. Omen starting towards C, usually as the anchor. Breach starting towards A or A link, usually to help start with A control. And jett starting on a deep line somewhere, usually on the A line, but could be towards C, B, or like going for garage P. The jett in these situations is kind of like a wild card and can just do whatever she wants, as long as everyone masks what they're doing. You should try to make it look like this is your setup, even when you're omen somewhere else, like your omen starting B or your jett starting C or anyone starting anywhere else. You make it look the same thing every single time so the enemy can't figure out what you're doing, where people are, or where they're not. Here are some examples of some good defensive rounds. This is the main standard setup that we're going to see. Sova starting towards long. He's going to send the dart in. Optional omen smoke is going to come from the omen. The jett is going to try to get into sewers and try to get on a deep line, and the breach will set the jett up by stunning through one of the lines, either from A-Link or from sewers, and then it's going to prevent the attackers from running out into long right away.
Just when you started to have some momentum. You were 4-1, and the rounds are slipping away like this.
Yeah, OR's retakes again. Not looking the best in the world, but I love this fast aggression. This is where OR looks so well oiled, but no.
After the defenders get pushed off, they realize maybe we don't want to fight head on into this. It might be really risky to fight up in close when we could just back up. They're going to pop the drone to kind of re-clear and get information of what's going on.
They faked it again. They looked so good about that entry on A, forcing everyone on Moist back towards the back of site. And now, they completely gave up all the space they had gained and are playing slow again. It's like they're trying to fake A and B site at the same time, trying to keep Moist on their toes, but again, every time OR is attempting to do this, no one on Moist falls for it. They don't.
After a little bit of time has passed, the defending omen will ulti towards long A, and he'll get the info if any of the attackers are still here. And off that info as well, the defenders will push into sewers and try to get a more aggressive line, where we're going to see one player holding into sewers and the other person watching towards the behind. If the attackers come back into A and they go up long, then the defenders will fight into short together. And if the attackers are coming through short, then the defenders have to just fight into it and pray that they hold it. When you're getting split on from potentially long and short at the same time, you don't want to sit in a position where you can get sandwiched and pinched from both. You want to make sure that you're isolating and you're fighting into one side or the other. So in this case, they're going to fight into sewers, which is a very highly defensible position and tough for the attackers to wrap all the way down and pinch them from long.
Rotate.
That ult could have been misinformation, though. Ulted out towards A long. That was Thief to do the from the shadows. They didn't spot anything, so they take the space up towards sewers. Do they know 2 players just around the corner? Sim. The angle, Brock. Holding the flank. Sim, the first one to fall. Now 2 more players to worry about, but Brock makes quick work of that with 6 HP. He's able to back away. He has a spike and a speed. He finds a third. No way Brock just did that.
This is a similar start to the 3-man A standard. We're still seeing the same Sova dart. We're still seeing the same breach stun. We're still seeing the optional omen smoke. But this time we're actually going to have 4 people starting towards A. If you think that the enemy is going to go into A on you, then what you might want to do is, instead of fighting with 3 people, you know they're coming here. You're going to fight it with 4. The worst thing that happens is the enemy goes into B, or they do a fast play towards garage or C, and then you just say, okay, well, we already have this control. We're going to go and flank you guys immediately. But if the enemy's actually coming to you onto a site, then you have 4 people here to fight, and you can keep layering util. So after you do this initial util, you add an aftershock into the cubby, you send another omen flash out into the lobby, and then you keep pushing through, and you get all the kills that you can get.
It's a gamble stack now from OR on A side. They know exactly what the read is from Moist. And in case there's that mid-round readjustment, Nilly's util down on C and B. OR are ready.
And they think this is the winning recipe, and it has been. Last round proof.
After you get your initial kills here, it's always nice to stave your advantage and not to overcommit and throw. You don't want to give the attackers a chance to get any trade kills. So as soon as you have a safe opportunity to get out and keep your lives and keep your advantage, you do so, because the round is basically secured as long as you don't give away untradeable kills. Like the earlier round that we saw, we're going to see the Sova and the Breach all starting towards A. They're going to send the same dart, the same stun that they normally throw on their defaults. The optional Omen Smoke is also going to come, but we're actually going to see the Jett moving positions, and she's going to start on an aggressive C line. If she sees nothing, she can walk all the way down and take this super deep line towards long C, and then allow her teammates to rotate over. But if the attackers are actually coming into C, then she's like the first line of defense, and then she's setting up the Omen and the Killjoy to get a bunch of kills after they're tunnel visioned on her.
They can even play a default without getting run down, so let's see what changes for OR Esports as they split themselves across the map. Pancakes working hand in hand with Fizz here. Drone will find Sim, the operator. Spike is here, and I mean, they are still playing a very tricky game here. Dash onto the side. Hunter's Fury comes through. Zeldris not yet found. Neither is Thief. Go back and forth with Proto to eventually go down. Trigger discipline as Thief collects 2. One more just around the corner, and they've got the spike in hand.
The start of this round, we're going to see the same 3-man A default with the dart, the stun, the Omen flash smoke like normal, but the Omen's actually going to choose to play in B here. If you think that the enemy's not going to go C and you're going to gamble away from it until the turret triggers by the attackers coming either through garage or up long C, then what you could do is you can actually place your Omen towards B, either in the elevated position or somewhere backside with his Omen flash available. And then you can make it so that the attackers, if they want to go A, they see that you're heavy here, they might choose to react by quickly going into B, and you're ready to receive them there. This is also really good if your Killjoy, for example, has an ultimate, because placing it in the corner by garage will flush all the attackers out of the site in the post plant.
Gonna be coming out of sewers. They're looking not to use it this round either.
Oh, Zeldris just given ahead.
Deploying drone.
The shot goes wide. Both initiators and the duel is still here on the A site. Expecting Moist to hit this one here as Zeldris repositions on another angle. Not a lot of options. Okay, I was gonna say for Sim to walk out of this one. Instead, Zeldris will give up the angle.
Moist are taking this very cautiously. Something that we haven't really seen from their attacking rounds at all this series. The Owl Drone comes out, doesn't find any info at all. Plenty of noise for OR to work off of.
Shadows traveling.
A re-rotate back over to B-Mate though. The alarm bot is ready and so is Pancakes. Pancakes plus smokes equal devastation.
And the flash a second too late, or else that recon bolt may have found the reveal onto Pancakes, but
Again, we'll see the same reaction that we saw a few rounds ago, where the defenders will try to get into an aggressive sewers position here, especially if they're confident that their teammates are going to be able to stall the attackers out of the main position. If the attackers decide to come back into A, it's going to be very difficult to flush the defenders out of this position. And then if the attackers decide that they're going to go into C, back to C through garage or long C, then the defenders can just push through and meet up through middle with their teammates instead. This is a TikTok play. This is using the Sova ulti. He's going to send a dart outside lobby, send his laser beam out, and try to kill anyone he can. Breach is going to send a stun through mid window. Jett's going to dash into mid window, and they're going to layer up a bunch of utility and try to fight with it and try to get as many kills in this area as possible early on.
Oh, maybe in plate for picks, they might be golden for these XX.
wow, I mean, this is as moist as it gets right here. Deep inside the spawn of OR Esports, and I mean, they have already been dealt with.
At the start of the round, we're going to see an omen smoke. And then we also know that Breach used his stun on the long line. And then Sova also sent a dart out into A somewhere. Either short or long, it doesn't matter where. It got destroyed, basically. But the attackers know that the defenders responded with their own dart, their own Breach stun, and they can assume that at least the Sova and the Breach started there, if not more people. Usually you're not going to just start those two people. But even if it was just Sova and Breach, they knew that the Breach stun line came from sewers and the dart came from long, so at most there's 3 people towards C. So this is their reaction. They're going to go right back into C, pop a drone, and run in with it while they know that the defenders are super far away and they have this really long rotation away back to the C site.
Bounce back with all rifles was just pure aggression down one side. But I don't know if they're going to play that same tempo before. It's a much wider map than Pearl, this being Haven, and Thief. Only armed with sheriffs. They have the 1v5 with rifles, against rifles.
Yeah, Thief gives himself up, doesn't quite take a shot. Nanoswarm backside means he cannot escape. So 39 HP is where he lands, tries to fight his way forward, but will deal with him promptly as the rest of the defense will also fall here on the C site, leaving things into the hands of Sim.
They're using the drone to lead out to make sure that there is no stack, and then they can use their economic advantage in this round against their anti-eco to basically brute force through this area. If the defenders were on guns here and the Breach actually had more flashes, this could have been a really scary, spooky round for the attackers. But in a 5 versus 4, 4 versus 4, any sort of brawl out here where everything's just out on the table, full out gunfight, you have all this util fighting back and forth. This is actually not a horrible situation for the attackers to be in, because at least you don't have to worry about these 50-50 crossfires and you're in there swarming like a Zerg army just fighting together. At the start of this round, we're going to see the omen smoke for the info denial on the long player. One of the attackers kills the Sova dart from the defenders here, but we're actually going to see that the Breach is saving his stun. So instead of stunning the long line at the start of the round, he's actually going to save it because they're going to walk up, get super close into the smoke, and then use the stun on an attack round. Just straight up into A site really early into the round before the defenders are able to react and understand what's going on.
Full rifle round, outside of a proto, of what could very well be another winning map for Moist. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. OR, for the first time this series, have the lead. And this Owl Drone's gonna give away the entire plot.
Wow, beautiful stun, and Brock just has nowhere to go. Meanwhile, on the backside, though, Thief able to punish, kill onto Nilly. Paranoia to slow things down. Backside fly a swing, finds kill onto the duelist, but with a back and forth continues. Thief spotted, now taken down. A Proto also follows, and
what we actually saw here was that the defending Sova droned from a really out in the open area, and the attackers called an audible to just target stun him and dash at him and take him down before he was able to get off his drone. And that was the opening into the round. Even if they go 1-for-1, this is a really good trade situation for the attackers to be able to commit on this round. At the start of this round, we're going to see the same omen smoke to the A cross to deny the info. We're going to see a Breach stun across, and we're also going to see the Sova dart either long or short in any of these positions here, just to mask that they're doing their default. And it works in 2 different ways. One, it makes the defenders here think, hey, maybe they're going into A again. The second thing is they're listening for what the defenders do. Are the defenders sending their Breach stun out? Are the defenders sending their Sova dart out? If the answer is yes to that, boom, we're going into C anyways.
Nothing but sheriffs and classics for this next round for Moist. We can assume for OR this should be a winning round, but you never really know. The Bladestorm's already out. A lot of patience being held here by OR. They're not fast pushing like they have before. They're looking to switch up the tempo to keep Moist on their toes, and Thief is using this opportunity to run away.
Lock in sight.
Thief only had a classic this time, so not feeling too comfortable to play and fight on the site. Meanwhile, Nilly getting set up. Aftershocks, blades go out. The Proto immediately dealt with. Zeldris also find a kill. I mean, it is just a carnival of death here on the C site, and I don't know who's pushing the buttons as Flya.
Again, we see the Sova using his shocks onto the normal positions that Killjoy might have mollies placed, the Jett's gonna dash into her own smoke, and she'll change the positions that she smoke dashes to. Sometimes it's front plat, sometimes it's front default, and sometimes it's gonna be top default box. And especially if the drone's able to get a tag on someone, that's free kills from the Jett from top site onto any player's back site. At the start of this round, we're actually going to see that the attackers are grouped towards A, and they're actually going to hide from the defender's dart. And while that's happening, the attackers are sending an omen smoke towards the top of C long, and the breach is going to send a flash through the wall, and then he's going to send a breach stun out on the line here. He's going to be doing two things: faking the C pop or the C rush, but he's also going to be listening for any responses from the defenders. What this is doing is it's going to make the defenders on A site that normally start here and try to get up into a deep line, they might think, oh, it's a C play? Okay, I'm going to go and take a really deep line, or I'm going to push through and flank. And now we're just going to see the attackers sitting here holding for the defenders to push up and make a mistake.
So important. They have to keep all of these rifles alive this round. The Scanly up from Zeldris, it's a risky maneuver. Physic not too far behind, but they have to get the opening pick.
That hurts. Ooh, Flat taking some damage, Sim taking some damage, but
To touch up and kind of like start wrapping things up a little bit. On attack, general rules of thumb: if you want to take garage control and deny a Killjoy alarm bot or turret that's in garage, you should always use a smoke, and then think about using a dart or a drone to go in to get info of if there's any players playing inside, perhaps with a judge, for example. Or you should be taking your breach over, and he can use his stun line on the left side of the garage / the tunnel / left side window, or using a breach flash in here to do so as well. The rule of thumb for going B on attack is you probably don't want to do this if you're against an eco, running straight into this B zone against an eco where all the defenders can come with small guns. It's probably not a good idea. But if you're on eco or you're on low buy, you can do it. You just need to make sure that if you go in here, you can't fall back and play with small like frenzies and stingers from outside the site. You'll probably want to push into A-Link or C-Link together, or you could leave the site, come back out into mid, and then you can go and wrap garage and then rewrap the site and keep pressure on them that way. B site's also a really nice place to go if you have ultimates such as Killjoy ulti, because you can use it in the post plant front garage. You can go late into sewers with it. Breach ulti is a good one. Sova ulti is good. It's really good if you have nice guns and you have nice ults and you want to sit from basically all the way back here to do that. You just don't want to do that against an eco, and you also don't want to do it too late in the round, where if the defenders have moved up into the A line and they've started rotating their players towards the C link and the A link, and they have lots of stall utility, breach aftershock, ulti, killjoy mollies, sova ulti, all these things, you don't really want to mess with that too much. Another rule of thumb is for defense, if you want to use your killjoy lockdown on the retake, you might want to mask early on what you're doing. So use your omen smoke, your sova dart, maybe a breach stun to secure a lobby at the start. Fake that you're playing there, but it's actually your killjoy that's going to be playing, or you're playing nobody on the site and it's just the killjoy turret here somewhere listening, spotting for the enemies, and you're going to play completely out. And maybe the enemy decides they're going to run into where you're actually going to be stacked. So the sova darts, he runs away, and then you have like some 3 stack on C and a 2 stack on A link. And then that way, if the attackers go into C or B, they're playing against a lot of people, and then you can play the retake together. Another cool setup you could try, if you have Killjoy ulti and the enemy might think, oh, the Killjoy is going to play retake A, let's go A together. You can put the turret watching into sewers. The Sova can play doubled up A with the Killjoy, and when the turret takes contact, the breach can stun into sewers and destroy anybody who's walking down this ramp. Make sure that your breach is far enough away so that if the enemies have crossed into this cubby, they're also going to get stunned. If after the breach stuns and you're still fighting, he can also layer in flashes that are going to go behind you through the ground, and you can keep swinging with those. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck in your Premier matches on Haven and for the rest of the Valorant endeavors that you may embark on. If you guys like this, you can see me doing stuff and implementing stuff like this on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/steel_TV. And remember to leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff here. And most importantly, have fun.